I ran a complete project through a single ChatGPT conversation. It went from the project charter all the way to the closure report. 22 prompts, one conversation, start to finish. It worked for the most part, but there is something I want to prepare you for before we begin. When ChatGPT gets something on a project, it does not look wrong. It does not refuse the question. It gives you a clear, well-formatted table with a figure in it that is not correct, and it waits to see whether you notice. There is an example of that in this project. At one point, it tells me I am £700 under budget. That is not a saving. And if I had reported it as a saving, I would have had to correct myself about 4 weeks later. I will show you exactly where that happens and how to recognize it. So this video is not a list of prompts. For each one, I will explain what the prompt is for, which parts you have to complete yourself, and why those parts matter, what comes back, and how to read what comes back. Reading the output carefully is the real work. Writing the prompt is the easier part. Before we get to the 22 prompts, there is a short task that determines how useful all of them will be. It takes about 2 minutes. Most people open ChatGPT and begin asking questions immediately. The difficulty with that is simple. You are asking a capable assistant to help with a project it knows nothing about. So it fills the gaps with details that sound reasonable but are invented. So we set it up first. One project, one conversation, and one fixed rule. The question this prompt answers is this: how does ChatGPT know anything about your project? The answer is that it does not. And it cannot remember anything between separate conversations. Its memory works within one conversation only. If you close the conversation and open a new one, it no longer has your project. That is why the rule is one project, one conversation for the whole life of the project. So you give it everything at the start. Look at the parts in the square brackets: the project name, what the project delivers, the sponsor, the key dates, the budget, the team, the methodology, the constraints. Each one of those is something you know, and it does not. The last 4 lines are the ones that do the most useful work. Be concise. State any assumption in 1 line so that I can correct it. Ask up to 3 questions before producing a large deliverable. And this one, never invent figures, dates, or facts, and label estimates as estimates. That final instruction is important. Without it, when ChatGPT does not know your satisfaction target, it will choose one for you. With it, it tells you that it does not know. I paste the prompt, I send it, and this is what it does. It repeats the whole context back to me: the project, the sponsor, the dates, the budget, the team, and the style rules. Then it stops and it waits. That repetition is not pointless. It is your evidence that the setup was understood correctly, and it is the cheapest check you will make in this whole process. So read it properly. I am looking for 2 things. First, did it get anything wrong? I correct it now, while the correction costs 1 sentence. If I leave it, that error is built into the charter, the budget, and the schedule within 20 minutes. Second, did it add anything I did not tell it? If it has invented a detail at this stage, it will continue inventing details throughout. Now notice what it did not do. It did not begin working. It said that it was ready, and it asked what I would like to start with. That is the instruction. Confirm, then wait. That is doing its job. Without that instruction, it would have produced the project plan straight away, built on only half of the facts. On your own project, the context will be different, but the structure stays the same. If you work in a regulated environment, put the relevant standard in the constraints, and it will reshape everything that follows. If your budget is genuinely not agreed yet, write to be confirmed rather than an approximate figure, because an approximate figure here becomes a real number in the budget later. The setup is complete. It now knows the project. so we can ask it to help us authorize one. Initiating is the phase that answers 3 questions. Why does this project exist? What does success look like? And who has an interest in it? The answers are recorded in the project charter, which is the document that authorizes you to begin. There are 3 prompts in this phase. The first one drafts the charter. The second one challenges it. The third one works out who you have left out. The question here is this: what goes into the charter and how do I produce one without spending an hour looking at an empty page? There are 2 parts for you to complete: the project name and then any brief, email, or notes you already have. That second part is more useful than it looks. And whatever your sponsor sent you, even if it's incomplete or badly organized, paste it in. You do not need to tidy it up first. Then you specify the headings. And this is the step most people leave out: purpose and background, objectives, scope, both in and out, deliverables, milestones, success criteria, assumptions, constraints, high-level risks, sponsor, and roles. Rough budget. You're not asking for a charter. You're telling it the structure of the charter you want. And then there is the instruction that makes this prompt worth using. Put the words "needs input" wherever you do not have enough information. This is what comes back: a complete 1-page charter with every heading filled in about 20 seconds. Now we read it carefully because there are 3 different kinds of content in this document, and they are easy to confuse with each other. The first kind is the information it was given: the dates, the budget, the sponsor, and the team. Those came from your setup, so they're correct because you supplied them. The second kind is the information it has flagged as missing. Look at the success criteria. Delegate attendance is marked needs input. Participant satisfaction is marked needs input. It could very easily have written achieved 90% attendance and a satisfaction score of 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5, and you would have probably have accepted it. It did not, because we instructed it not to invent figures. Those markers are not a weakness in the output. They are the output working correctly. The third kind is the information it assumed, and this is where you need to pay attention. It states its assumptions at the bottom. 20 delegates are confirmed. The content is then built from scratch. Both of those are possible. Both of them are also worth checking, because if the content is not built from scratch, then the design estimate is wrong, and so is the budget that is calculated from it. So the discipline is this: read the assumptions before you read the content. The assumptions tell you which parts of the content you can rely on. On your own project, the heading list is the part to change. If you work in Prince 2, ask for a project brief with tolerances instead. If the project is small and internal, reduce it to purpose, scope, dates, and risk, and do not add headings you will not use. We now have a charter with some gaps marked in it. Next, we examine the weakest part of it, which on most projects is the objectives.